Tonight, we open with a strike that Western intelligence had feared, Russian analysts dismissed, and Ukrainian commanders meticulously prepared for months. A strike that didn't unfold over days or weeks, but in mere hours. Hours that shifted the course of this war. Hours that sent tremors from Washington to Beijing. Hours that forced Vladimir Putin to face a reality he never thought possible. What Ukraine executed today crossed a boundary every nation hoped would hold. And once that boundary broke, Russia reacted immediately with rage, threats, and a warning that has the world on edge. Total annihilation. Those were the Kremlin's words tonight. For the first time since this conflict began, those words carry a gravity no one, NATO, the Pentagon, or even Moscow can fully anticipate. For weeks, subtle signals hinted at something massive brewing. Not from official Ukrainian channels, not from Western governments. Just indicators that Kyiv was planning the unprecedented. Ukraine has been aggressive, yes, but methodical. Every strike followed a pattern. Fuel depots, ammunition stores, command centers, air defense installations, targets that weakened Russia's war machine without crossing the invisible lines that could provoke catastrophic retaliation. But what set off alarms in Western intelligence this week was silence. The usual rhythm of Ukrainian drone activity vanished. Analysts noticed movements of long-range assets to forward positions, spikes in encrypted communications, reconnaissance drones over dormant corridors, and a pause in publicly reported strikes. Whenever Ukraine goes quiet, it signals that something massive is imminent. Washington intelligence warned internally 3 days ago something big was coming. Something that could change everything. Early today, Russian air defenses detected multiple unidentified aerial objects from the southwest, including drone signatures unseen for 18 months. These are assets Ukraine deploys only for precise messaging. To the Russian military, Putin personally, observers couldn't know which, but they knew Ukraine was shifting posture. When a nation at war changes posture without explanation, every intelligence agency takes notice. First reports came from military bloggers, then local residents near Sochi, then satellite analysts, smoke rising from a compound once thought untouchable. A Black Sea residence tied to Vladimir Putin himself. The so-called Putin Palace recently reinforced for a planned visit. Not symbolic explosions, not graffiti, a direct strike, multiple direct strikes, and the world held its breath. The Kremlin's response was immediate, unprecedented, and urgent. Officials denounced the strike as terrorism against the Russian state, specifically targeting the president. Moscow had repeatedly warned such acts would trigger consequences beyond imagination. But threats only work if the target hesitates. Ukraine did not. Within hours, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky appeared on camera. No denial, no apologies, no diplomatic platitudes. Only Russia brought this war to our homes. Now they understand what that feels like. Rarely has Ukraine so openly claimed responsibility for high-profile operations. The statement itself was a message. We did this, we meant it, and we are unafraid of what comes next. Sources confirmed Ukraine launched a coordinated drone strike across southern Russia, including Putin's upgraded Black Sea residence. They struck before his arrival, hitting the main complex, the perimeter, and support facilities meant to host the president. This was a strategic strike on the logistical backbone of Putin's personal security apparatus. Western officials responded urgently. Ukraine's attack wasn't symbolic. It was actionable. A move that could reshape this conflict if unchecked. Russia, fully aware, responded deliberately. Their threats were precise. Ukraine's leadership, government buildings, and critical infrastructure could face total annihilation. Broadcast on state television within hours, the wording was chosen to intimidate and signal escalation. Western intelligence believes Ukraine's strike tested the psychological resilience of Russian leadership amid battlefield setbacks and internal pressures. Ukraine wanted to see whether Putin would retaliate militarily or retreat behind rhetoric. The result, a coordinated Russian response observed even by Ukrainian planners. Analysts described a siege mentality, control consolidation, while preparing for something larger. Ukraine proved capable of striking the heart of Russian power. Their drones were precise, timed, and unimpeded by air defenses, showcasing intelligence sophistication. Special forces conducted border reconnaissance. Cyber units hit recent Russian communications upgrades, and naval drones targeted Black Sea patrol vessels. This wasn't just a strike, it was strategic decapitation, psychological warfare executed flawlessly. Russia thought the war would last days. They expected Kyiv to fall, Zelensky to flee, Western support to fade. But Ukraine has defied those expectations. Hitting untouchable targets while Western backing remains strong, Russians now wonder, if they can hit the president's palace, what else can they reach? That question is more dangerous to Putin than battlefield defeats. The timing is critical. Putin faces military hardliners pushing retaliation, economic advisors seeking de-escalation, intelligence urging assessment, and political allies demanding strength. He's balancing these pressures while Ukraine demonstrates reach and precision. Tonight, for perhaps the first time, Putin is afraid. The Kremlin statements framed Ukraine's strike as an existential threat to the Russian state and Putin personally. Ukraine's message was deliberate. They didn't strike nuclear facilities, civilian centers, or military leadership directly. They hit symbols of corruption and power, personal, targeted, strategic. Tonight, Ukraine doubled down. Precise, unapologetic, their strikes sent a message to Russia. Kiev will not be intimidated. NATO sees Ukraine as Europe's most capable fighting force. Observers expect unfolding responses over the next 48 hours. Ukraine exposed Russian air defense flaws and demonstrated capabilities Moscow cannot counter. This moment will define the next phase of the war. Proportional retaliation may mark a turning point. Escalation could provoke NATO responses. Ukraine has shown it is ready, capable, and fearless. Putin is defensive. The Kremlin is quiet. And when Putin is quiet, he calculates. Tonight, he learns something he may have known, but never truly felt. He is not untouchable, not invincible, and not safe. This story is far from over, but one thing is clear. Ukraine has changed the rules of this war. Russia has vowed annihilation, and the world watches, waiting for the next move.